afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon,
Marcia.
Welcome to class. Today our topic of discussion will be on teachers' dressing standards. The subject of the lesson is how to dress for success. So, we're going to start with playing a dress-up game. So, what I want you guys to do now is we're going to divide into two separate groups. But we're going to adjust this, what's on the board, a little bit. So instead of you dressing up, we're going to dress up. And then your group is supposed to decide and put on discuss on how do you think this teacher is dressing up, and do you think it's appropriate or is it not appropriate? Okay, so we're going to start with the first teacher. Our model today is the lovely Miss Simone.
Hey guys! So today we're going to learn how to make stuff today. So let's see here. Well, do you guys like my shirt?
Is that Bob Marley?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Alright, well, that's all for today's class, so enjoy.
Alright. So what do you guys think of that t-shirt?
The shirt's but it's like having a hole.
Yeah, just wake up.
Just woke up. Would you want to have a teacher like that teaching your class?
Depends.
In America, yes.
Maybe, yeah.
But it feels not very professional.
That's true. So that's one. Now we're going to invite second teacher.
Oh.
Second teacher is this look what you're supposed to look at. Okay.
Okay, second teacher.
Oh.
Today we're going to learn how to make other stuff. So, yeah, what are your ideas of this outfit?
Beautiful.
Going to church.
Well, compared to the other one, how would you?
More professional.
It's less distracting.
Less distracting.
Not like
I think, yeah, the other one had a little bit more colors.
More formal.
Exactly.
Professional.
Good job. All right.
Okay, so, alright, so right now what we're going to do is we're going to have, okay, when I came in earlier, I observed some of us came here with like Mayumi. Can we have Mayumi stand up?
Oh.
Yeah. Mayumi came in ready to be a teacher.
Japan.
So you can see, yeah. This is what a teacher is supposed to look. Okay, so the key idea is, for today's lesson, is an effective teacher should be like Mayumi. Dresses appropriately as a professional educator to model success. So when you see Mayumi and you see Simone right now, you can just project the success. They're going to have a success classroom because the way they dress. Okay. Now, can I have somebody read this quote over here?
The key idea?
The dress perception.
Dress perception. As you are dressed, so
You.
be perceived. Wait, as you are dressed, so you be perceived. As you are perceived, so shall you be treated.
So, and I put down there, always dress better than your students. If you do not care about yourself, why should the students care about you? What do you guys think of that question? Okay, Bila, what do you think of that question?
Which question? The last question?
The last question, yeah. If you do not care about yourself, why should your students care about you? Do you think that's true?
Yes, very good.
Yeah. So if Simone came in like earlier with that like Bob Marley dress, would you care listening to Bob Marley?
I listen not to the. I'll focus on the teacher, not on the lesson.
Okay, so this just a general idea of we're trying to distinguish of how we should appropriately dress and how we shouldn't. We're going to dig deeper into this topic now. So, what is considered professional? Just like how Simone dressed up earlier, we're going to decide on each specific outfit and what do you guys think about that, okay? So, like for instance, we have a picture of a short skirt here. Too short. Too short. Well, do you think, if you're teaching a room of high school students, for instance, what do you think will come up if a teacher comes to the classroom wearing a short skirt?
Cute.
Yeah, as a guy, right? Will you get like distracted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How about hoodie or like sweatshirt? Do you think that's appropriate?
But it's comfortable.
It's comfortable, right? Do you think that's appropriate?
If it's cold, yes.
It's cold, I agree.
It's in Utah, yes.
During snow time, then it's probably appropriate.
If you're
But if
teaching
you're
it
in Hawaii.
I think that's
Okay. Yeah, how about tennis shoes?
No.
No?
Do you think that students really pay attention to what teachers wear on their feet?
Maybe some fancy shoes, yeah. They can get the attention.
Okay. Now we're going to focus this down. I'm going to exit the presentation. I'm going to show you guys now a picture, and I want you to think about what, if you have a teacher coming looking like this,
Not bad.
all right.
Very smart.
So do you guys know what this is?
Aloha
Sure.
shirt.
It's an aloha shirt. We go to a campus right now where we're in Hawaii. Everybody loves aloha shirts, right? Now, one of the main topic of discussions with the teachers is they're trying to decide whether or not aloha shirt should be considered acceptable or not acceptable. So, we want you guys to put yourself in that situation. Put yourself now. Imagine that you're a teacher here in BYU Hawaii, and then they're telling you that you are not allowed to wear aloha shirt to the classroom.
Honor code, if you wear it.
There you go. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think you agree or do you disagree? And let's have it. Let's have this pair up discussion. So, 2 by 2. Go share your discussion. Do you agree or disagree? Yeah.
For teach Aloha shirts. It's your teacher. So then, what is acceptable?
I'm sure that you were using, because like the body it looks very formal to you. Because you find out like something like that, flowery, it just looks like you're on a holiday.
It's a question, so like,
Instead of
what
teaching.
makes the difference between an
So
aloha
I
shirt
don't think, I'm kind of like in the middle, it's depend on what kind of aloha shirt you're supposed to have.
Yeah, I think that like an aloha shirt probably
That's
isn't very appropriate for a university. Like you're a doctor, you're teaching like college students, it's a professional setting. I think you should wear a nicer shirt than an aloha shirt. But in a high school setting, it's okay. So you feel like slacks,
Okay, we're
collar
done.
shirt, as long as your shirt is.
I was kind of looking at the shirt all the time. And
Are we done? Yeah. All right. Now we. Oh yes.
I bet you can't guess what I think about that.
What do you think, Brother Shu?
What do you think, Brother Q?
Agree or disagree?
Would you wear aloha shirt?
Not very often.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now that you share each other, we're gonna have one from each group tell about your discussion just now.
Okay, so we discussed about we agree wearing the aloha shirt in Hawaii. Just Hawaii. In Hawaii. Just Hawaii. Because this is culture, and in Hawaii, wearing the aloha shirt is appropriate. So probably like this kind of distract because it's bright. So the teacher needs to care how they wear the color or the patterns. But the aloha shirt is appropriate for us.
Aloha shirt tomorrow.
Okay, then let's have from over here.
So we kind of similar. It depends on what kind of shirt it is. So Anna said that like if it's like a one like this, it's really distracting. But it kind of also may seem that they're on a vacation and not really teaching or working, right? And then also, first thought was like, of course you should be allowed to wear aloha shirt because it's Hawaii, right? And then the second picture that came to mind was Dr. Shu wearing an aloha shirt. I would be so distracted. I would just be thinking all the time, how come he's wearing an aloha shirt? It just doesn't fit to like his personality. It might not look as professional. Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to set the record straight that picture out there on the board, you'll see a picture out there on the board of me in an aloha shirt.
Yeah.
I was told I had to wear an aloha shirt. My boss, really, said wear aloha shirts.
Now I have to go out and look at
Yeah. You should definitely go around.
It's weird.
Alright, and then last group?
Taurus shared that does depend on the situation. Like during the high school, that's okay for that, but for the college, it's supposed to be more professional. And I think that is more like appropriate because this is Hawaii and like according to the culture as well.
So we have both agree and disagree in some cases, yeah?
All
To a
agree.
certain extent. Yeah. I think this topic of discussion is also applied to, okay, should you tuck your shirt in or should you tuck your shirt out? Do you need to wear a tie, right, for professional teachers? For women teachers, for instance, for ladies, can you wear pants or should you wear skirt, right? This is a topic of discussion not only in Hawaii, but even back home. Like, believe it or not, I used to teach preschool wearing this outfit, this exact same outfit, teaching preschool. And when I first got the job interview, my employer, I asked her specifically, like, is it okay for me to wear sneakers to school? And she was like, yeah, it's okay, because you're teaching preschoolers, and we didn't have school uniforms as well for the students. So she's like, as long as it is neat, as long as you iron your shirt, she said it's fine. But then other schools, if you go, I know my sister, for instance, she goes to a school where it's very strict, where even preschool teachers, when I was in preschool, my teachers, everybody have to wear skirts and they have to wear like the shoes that Aaron is wearing right now, like flats or like
Like the one that
yeah, it has to be like flats and it has to be like a certain color. It can't be like too distracting. So there are definitely pros and cons and changes that's happening with the way that teachers are supposed to be dressed. So now that we know basically the opinions are out, let's focus on what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. So, before we do that, we're gonna have a discussion here. Mele's gonna lead us. So, We have a list of questions here, so we want you guys to do the think, pair, and share, just like the one we did before. But this time, we have specific questions to analyze why, the reason why we need to dress appropriately, and maybe come up with an examples later on. So, Mele?
Okay, so I want you guys to get into pairs and do this question that we have on the board. So I'll have you to do the first question. Why do teachers need to look appropriate?
Me? Us?
No, these two. And the second one,
Us.
you two can do, does modesty have anything to do with dressing for success? So that's you do. And you two will do this question. How are students affected by teachers wearing inappropriate clothing?
So we'll give you guys about 5 minutes to discuss, and then we'll have you share.
Like, when I was a high school student, teacher was like inappropriate. So the time we always talk about it. So we are not really talking about the class stuff. So probably it's a big distraction. So we are not really focusing on what we are learning. We are just like seeing what he's going to wear.
Always the same. So it's like different way.
No, I can't dress.
Well,
Actually, because we're just like expecting what he's going to wear.
it's a lot of it.
What you gonna wear next time?
You don't
For months?
take classes. And so teachers need to dress appropriately, so that helps them act appropriately. Because they're dressed right, it reminds them like I need to
Must be.
And then I super agree with what you said.
Like, which is kind of interesting because it's always
You cannot dress modesty when
teaching
you
these
are
students
dancer.
skinny,
Like a
white,
how to respect themselves and how to
dancing in the lingerie or
So
something.
we are not
Just
really
not
conscious about he's so like handsome and cute. Like the teachers focus inappropriate. It's like a funny.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why we are
Makes
like
sense. Yeah.
guessing how which kind of it's going to be.
What I'm wearing right now, do you consider modest?
Yeah.
So is it appropriate for me to dress up like this?
It's depend. Like I would not say modesty is like the best way to show, like influence success. But it could be one of the factors that could influence your
And then
success.
also,
I don't know how to put
Yeah,
it.
I mean, our Japan, we have a student
Just
that
kind of like
you have such an
demand
active
this
the teacher doesn't.
You know, if I'm teaching kindergarten,
So
it's
yes,
best
school has some like
I mean, I can't wear
maybe
this skirt.
Go in detail.
Because I need to be bending down, you need to be up, and like working around, like I need to
That's
be
why we are talking
in clothes that are professional enough to have this pressure and also be very mindset, but that are also functional enough, so that it doesn't kill doing my job. I'm wearing skirts and heels, clothing, I'm gonna be protective of the teacher.
That's why.
Okay, I think we are running out of time. So I want you guys
That's
to,
what success is.
So we'll have you guys just review. So our first group here, what was your discussion? What was your answer?
Laura and I talked about how dressing well helps students respect you. There's a saying that I always say, and other people do too, but it's look good, feel good. So like you actually act differently based on how you're dressed. It's kind of like a secret to success to dress well. It helps you be more productive. And also to be a good example of how to take school seriously and how to take yourself seriously.
Those are really good responses. All right, our next group.
So we're kind of like, the first example that we have is like, it's depend on what kind of occupation that we would have.
like if you're asking about a ballerina, you cannot dress like modestly if you want to like perform to be a ballerina, professional ballerina. So it's depend on what occupation that you would have. But I would say like modesty would have, would influence the factor of your success, but it's also depend on what kind of job that you would have in the future. And we kind of like discussing about how you picturize. For me, like personally, how I picturize a teacher, a professional teacher, is when I see them dressing professional, dressing formal, professional, and that's the way I think like that's success.
Yeah.
You know, like that's influence how I think about success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like I like how you said too, the ballerina, like because you wouldn't see like dancers at PCC wearing like,
Exactly.
Wearing
coats
or
wearing, you know.
So yeah,
gonna
that's a
happen.
good point. That's a really good point. So and then our last group right here, what did you come up with?
As is the student like more focusing on the teacher than the lesson the teacher will taught. Example, she said one in Japan where a teacher always like wear inappropriate clothing whenever he come and teach, and there's, for them they think about what will the teacher wear the next day, because the teacher always wear that, so that the student mostly focus on the teacher than the lesson. In Japan, so today when they think about the teacher come to mall, they think, oh, this guy will wear, because the guy is a handsome guy, and muscle guy, so we think wear that one.
Can I just share something real quick? In Austria, we had this math teacher. She was like in her 40s or 50s, and she sometimes didn't wear appropriate clothes, but she was like not really nice to it's just because she was already older, right? And then sometimes she had like tantrums, and like and so whenever she was at the board, she was like writing, right? And everybody just looked at her hair, and it was
same with this one.
Yeah, and nobody really knew what was going on the board or what she was talking about, and everybody was
distraction.
It makes you kind of feel uncomfortable, right? Like, it's just
How did you
awkward
look?
in those situations? Exactly.
How did you look at it?
It was her.
Oh, it's
So-
her? Oh.
We're gonna go next.
So we're gonna go to the next one. What should be considered or appropriate and not appropriate? So here are some examples. Bright colors are enjoyed by elementary students.
Bright color, so that means aloha shirt, you say yes.
Soft mid-tone are recommended for secondary school. Men can mix with a tie on a collar shirt. Clean clothes are good hygiene. Neat, cleanly clothes establish confidence. Career clothes prepare students for a future in the competitive global world economy.
So basically, this is a list that's given. We took this lesson from the book by Mr. Wong, the first years of school, and this is a list that he wrote down of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. So what Mele just read was what's appropriate. So like bright color and all that stuff. Now, so before we're gonna end with this conclusion that respect comes to people who dress like they are ready to gain it. So definitely right when you said we need to dress appropriately to gain respect from students, like what you shared, because if you come to school with wearing something that will not give students respect to you, then if they don't respect you, they're not going to follow you as teachers. So you need to dress like you're ready to gain respect. And this is a quote by me. If you want.
Okay.
Alright, so we're just going to evaluate the discussion. As a whole, how did you guys think the discussion went? How did it go?
Good.
Yes, good. Everyone thought it was an interesting topic, hopefully. Do you have a better understanding on setting up the standards for appropriate dressing as teachers? So do you guys understand how, like what's appropriate for teaching? Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Alright, was there enough debate in the discussion?
With the little questions there was.
Yeah. Right.
And then after that, we all kind of seemed to agree on everything.
Did everybody participate? I think we did.
Lovely.
Then for next time, for our next discussion, what can we do better next time?
More time.
More outfits to show.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well, how do you
We'll have a model next time. Because it's hard, you see, we thought about that. We thought about dressing you guys up, but then we realized we have Pila in the group. So, yeah.
He can wear a shirt.